What's up out there, family and friends? It's your boy, the motivational teacher to the masses, bringing you another edition of these hits, high intensity trainings on a rainy Sunday morning as we're preparing for another basketball game, basketball weekend. It's a journey and you have to embrace it and enjoy it. But I did want to pop on for a brief minute and just spend a little time with you all as I see the raindrops falling. The funny thing is that like it's not very cloudy. I see the sun and the rain is falling. So what a great moment, what a great backdrop to come on and break a little bread with you all. Yesterday I popped on and I talked about your fear and I talked about your doubt. And I talked about how doubt has killed many more dreams than fear ever could. We popped on yesterday, and that was a great conversation. If you have not, go back and listen to that conversation that we had yesterday. And today I want to pop on today and I want to talk about become excellent. It's amazing that when a baby is born, Jean Piaget says that baby is a tabula rasa, meaning it's a blank slate. That baby comes into the world with no true mindset. That baby comes into the world with no real identity. That baby comes in the world not understanding really how to eat or drink, not understanding what their dietary needs are, not knowing what their movements are from day to day. However, by the time that baby becomes one, that baby has learned how to walk. That baby has learned how to say mama, dad, dad. That baby has learned how to eat, how to drink, how to communicate to the world what it needs are. By the time that baby comes 16, that baby is driving, that baby is doing all sorts of different things that they've learned how to express themselves, and they starting to figure out who they are in this world by the time it turns 16. The question that I want to have today, or the conversation I want to have today, is becoming excellent. We came into this world with nothing. Everything that we have, everything that we learn, everything that we know today, we had to learn it. Why, as an adult, we believe that adult learning has been minimized in our society. We believe that after I turn 21, I am a finite being, and who I am and what qualities and what I have at that moment is who I was meant to be and what I am supposed to communicate to the world of who I am. Why do we discount the skill of adult learning? Come on, man. I'm going somewhere in a minute. Becoming excellent, the quality or the state of being exceptional at a skill or task, is our definition of excellence. The quality, the skill, becoming exceptionally good at a skill or a task is our definition of excellence. Why is it that as an adult, I'm gonna break bread today, and I'm asking questions because good leaders ask great questions, and I want to figure out today why is it that we allow ourselves as an adult to say I no longer learn, I no longer grow at the same pace as I did when I was kindergarten through 12th grade. 70% of Americans do not pick up a book after graduation. Why is that? Because we discount adult learning in our society. We believe, we believe subconsciously in our society that I have climaxed who I am at 21, and life experiences is supposed to teach me everything I need to know on this earth. Come on, man. I'm breaking bread out here. I'm breaking bread out here. Today I'm talking about becoming excellent, but there's no way we can become excellent at any one thing if we don't believe in adult learning. Well, motivational teacher, I read my Bible, I go to church, I do this, I do that. Motivational teacher, that's where I get my growth. It's not enough. It's not enough. If your goal is to go to seminary, if your goal is to be a pastor, elder, deacon, I get it. That adult learning qualifies for everything that you want to do if that's your goal and if that's your ultimate goal. But in your area of life where you said I'm going to get the most success, if I want to be a better husband, then I need to go study and I need to have the mindset that I can grow being a husband, I can grow my marriage. If I want to be a better leader, I need to have the mindset that I can learn and I can grow and I can become a better leader. Without that belief pattern, without that belief system, I will no longer put the work in to become a great leader because all of my leading is OJT, on the job training. Becoming excellent is about the time you put in when the lights aren't on. Becoming excellent is more about being productive with the investment of time when there's nobody watching you. Being excellent is more about how I invest my resources in places that yield me results versus that just withdraw me spiritually and mentally bankrupt. Becoming excellence has more to do with your investment of time when the lights are off, when no eyes are watching, and you're, I call it marinating with nobody. You like the crock pot. There's nothing sexy about the crock pot. Oh my God, it's a bread breaking moment. There's nothing sexy about the crock pot. People throw mounds of food in the crock pot, go to work, come back home, and have a dinner. It's nothing sexy. There's not the chopping. There's not, you don't see people on the Food Network. You don't see people on the cooking channel with shows with crock pots because there's nothing sexy about the simmering of a crock pot. But your growth and development has to be crock pot-esque. It ain't sexy reading the book. It ain't sexy sitting down hours and hours of putting time into a craft that you don't know if you're gonna get the necessary result that you wanted. It ain't sexy, it's crock potting. Turn on the cooking channel, turn on the Food Network. You'll never see a show where they're crock pot, where they have a crock pot. It's not sexy. But how effective is it? How effective is cooking with that crock pot? Doesn't look good. You don't have all the different eyes going on the stove. You can't produce a 30-minute show with the crock pot because the crock pot is doing all the work behind the scenes. And until we adopt the mindset of the crock pot, we can never become excellent in any given area in our life. Well, I'm gonna get good at doing my job by doing my job. Not necessarily going to happen. You do need to learn the skills, the trade in order to do the job so you can learn what areas where you're not effective so you can learn and grow. But most of your growth, even on your job, takes place after your 8 to 5, and now you're spending another 2 hours at nighttime learning and growing in the areas where you say, I'm deficient in this area. I need to do more learning and growing in this area. At that point, you start becoming excellent. I'm telling you, the runway going the extra mile is always clear because nobody wants to do the additional work. There's no way that I can be stopped in this world because I'm willing to do the additional work to become excellence. I understand that excellence is a journey. I don't judge myself. I read yesterday, I did work yesterday, but I don't judge my results today just necessarily based off what I did yesterday. It's a crock pot. My wife had a baby shower that she was throwing for somebody, for another lady we know in our family, and she asked me. She said, "Hey, I need for you to do the meatballs. The barbecue meatballs." She said, "Hey, at 1 o'clock, at 12 o'clock, put the meatballs in the crock pot, pour X amount of barbecue sauce in there, and then at 5 o'clock, go back, check, stir them, and put some more barbecue sauce." And she told me how to do the crock pot during my normal work day. And I did it. And when the meatballs finished, I was like, man, it felt like I almost didn't do it because I fixed it and it did, and the crock pot did the work. See, growth and development is the same way. Becoming excellent is the same way. I am going to do the work, and the crock pot, who I call the great I am, he's going to provide and create opportunities for you to show the work that you've done. Like, it's your goal. It's up to you to get all the necessary ingredients. It's up to you to learn to be the electrical outlet. It's up to you to get all the necessary pieces together and put them in the crock pot. Oh my God, it's a bread breaking moment. And it's up to God, the great I am, who awakens your I am, is what comes out the crock pot. It's your job, your responsibility to put the work in. It's your job and your responsibility to make sure that at 1 o'clock you put the meatballs in. At 3 o'clock, you stir the meatballs and you put barbecue sauce in. At 5 o'clock, you add more barbecue sauce. That's all up you. What comes out the crock pot? Oh my God, this is a bread breaking moment. What comes out of the crock pot is the great I am finished product. Man, see, you've been looking at your life as a series of events. I'm telling you, your life is not a series of events. Everything that you went through is connected. It's a bread breaking moment right there. Nothing that you went through caught the great I am who awakened your I am by surprise. Follow your boy. None of it caught it. All of these things that you've gone through that you thought was meant to harm, all of these things are working together for your good, but you have to mix thought and you have to mix belief in order for the great I am to give the best product out of that crock pot that he can. I know, motivational teacher. It just seems like every time I take one step forward, I take two steps back. Motivational teacher just seemed like on life, I can't get right. It just seemed like I can't get right. There's no such, man, I'm gonna tell you, there's no such thing as a good or bad experience. It's only an experience, and it's how and it's what your perception of that experience what creates a positive or negative experience. Two boys grew up in the same house. They had an alcoholic father. One became an alcoholic. The other one became a successful attorney. You ask both those boys, why did you turn out the way you did? They both said, because my daddy was an alcoholic. Because one said, my daddy was an alcoholic, I decided I was never going to take a drink. And the other one said, because my daddy was an alcoholic, I decided to become an alcoholic also. Same situation, two different outcomes. You put all those situations in the crock pot, and what you perceive and what you believe and what you mix in with that crock pot is what you get out. It's a bread breaking moment. My challenge to us is today, what areas of your life are you investing your time to become excellent? We have enough average people in this world. You don't need to be one. The majority, 99% of the people walking around this earth are average. Walking around this earth are average. We don't need for you to be the 96th person that's walking around average. We need for you to become excellent in some areas of your life. Shine your light so that men can see. When men see your light, they glorify your Father that's in heaven. Why would you put a lamp on top of the hill if you just gonna shade the light? What good is salt if it loses its saltiness? Every decision we make to become average is us dimming our light. Every decision we make not to go the extra mile is us dimming our light. You want men to see your good works. When they see your good works, they glorify your Father that's in heaven. I get it. We lift up your holy hand. I get it. I'm not against all of that. I'm not against any of that stuff. On Sunday morning, it's a great Sunday morning. I'm not against worship. I'm not against praise. I'm not against any of those things. But men, glorify your Father when they see your good works, when they see your fruitfulness, when they see your multiplication. That's true worship. True worship, anybody can lift hands. True worship is when I take what I have and I put it in the hands of the great I am, and he crock pot me, and I might crock pot for 10, 12, 14 years, but when I come out the crock pot, they're going to glorify my Father that's in heaven. In him I live, I move, and I have my being. And I can promise you, if we're truly in him, if we truly live and move and have our being in him, our product will not be average. There's no average in him. If I live and move and have my being, there is no average in him. My final product will not be average. I tell the story about my Aunt Betty. My Aunt Betty, when my Aunt Betty died, my Aunt Betty probably ain't ever made over $10,000, $12,000, $14,000 a year. But when she died, there were so many people at the church, we couldn't get in there because she had impacted so many lives. She kept almost every kid that grew up in our community. She had our handprint almost on 3 generations that grew up in the Waverly area. And when the church was so full, so many people there, they couldn't let them all in the church. Some people would say if you judge her based on financial measures, she didn't measure up. But when you look at her impact, God is not concerned about how big your house is or you driving a Bentley. He's concerned about your impact. My Aunt Betty and my Uncle Eddie James, their impact was huge. They didn't have the dollars and cents. We had to help bury them. They didn't have the dollars and cents, but their impact, their imprint on earth is huge. I'm fruit from that tree. Looking at what I don't, you're looking at dollars and you're looking at cents about what you don't have. Baby, don't be concerned about that. All these things will be added to you. You're worried about the things. You should be worried about how you develop in your mind. Should be worried about what story am I telling myself to become the best version of who I'm supposed to be. What's my impact? What's my footprint on this earth? You're worried about the wrong things. What kind of car? What kind of Gucci? What kind of purse am I carrying? You know, we're worried about all these things that can be added unto you. Showtime. It's time for us to make the decision. It's time for us to create. It's time for us to become excellent. In order to have the most impact in your life, excellence is a must. In some area, it's enough average people out here. Let's not become one. Your boy just broke bread. Your boy just broke bread. Make your own decision today. I am not an average person. My commitment is not average. My work is not average. My time is not average. My relationships are not average. I made the commitment to myself and I'm willing to crop pot myself to learn, to grow, to read, to understand, to digest, to listen. I am worth the investment to become excellent in some area of my life. You got to make that commitment to yourself. I can't do it. Mama can't do it. Grandmama can't do it. Your children can't do it. Your boss can't do it. Your company can't do it. You got to make the commitment. You got to make the investment. You're worth it. I see way too many people who settle for status quo. When I realize the potential that some of these people have, and I sit there and I watch them waddle in mediocrity because it requires just a little bit more work not to be average. Don't be that person. I sit in counseling sessions. I coach people that got all the potential in the world, but looking for a shortcut, looking for the microwave. They don't want a crock pot. They're looking for the microwave. How I cook a potato in 5 minutes, 7 minutes. They're looking for the microwave. I'm telling you, microwaving is God doesn't honor the microwave. I'm just gonna break bread. From 12 to 30, Jesus was somewhere finding himself in the scripture. From 12 to 30, he crop pot from 12 to 30. He crop potted himself from 12 to 30, and you don't want to crop pot for 6 months. Moses was on the backside of the desert for 40 years. We look at TDJ starting his church over there in the hills of West Virginia to where he's been in ministry 50 years, almost 50 years. He crop potted all the time he was over there in West Virginia. We look at Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan did not even start on his high school team. He didn't even make his JV team. Mike went crop potting for 6 years before we know who he is. Elon Musk, same thing. Bill Gates crop potted. Jeff Bezos started a company that was like Amazon, didn't make it, went back, that company went under, started Amazon again. He crop potted for 7 years. And you don't want to crop pot for 6 months. You don't want to work and develop for 6 months. And you telling me, motivational teacher, I want to be great. You got to be willing to go crop pot. You got to be willing to do work when you don't see the results. You got to be willing to learn and grow when it doesn't look favorable. You got to be willing to do it. It's crop potting. You got all the necessary ingredients on the inside of you. It's time to go crock potting. It's time for you to become excellent in some areas of your life. Make that commitment, man, because I promise you, if you don't make it, I'll hire you to help make mine a reality. Or somebody else will hire you to help make their dream and their crock pot a reality. They'll pay you sometime when they can't get paid, because they believe so much in the dream that I'm invested in it now. They will pay you $12 an hour, $300 a week, $400 a week, and sometimes they don't have money at the end of the week for themselves. Why? Because they're invested in their vision. But you're telling me you don't want to spend 45 minutes a day reading? You don't want to spend 45 minutes a day trying to understand how to become excellent in some area of your life? You will die an average human. You will die an average human because you do not invest in your future. Die an average human if you don't change that mindset. Greatness. My son gave me a quote yesterday. He said, mastery requires patience. Mastery requires patience. My son gave me that yesterday. Mastery requires patience. I don't believe in overnight successes. I don't believe that Ed the man is coming showing up with a book with a stack of money. I believe that you get out what you put in. If you want more out, put more in. In any area of your life that you said, I'm not getting what I expect, you need to put more time, more energy, more effort, more resources in that area of your life so you can get more out. I'm breaking bread right now. I am absolutely breaking bread. This 20 minutes was fire. It was fire. Become excellent at something, ladies and gentlemen. Don't spend your whole life decide I'm just going to stay in the middle of the road. I don't want to stand out. I just want to stay right there in the middle. That way they don't ask me to do too much and I can hide and I ain't on the bottom. Average. I want the spotlight. I want the lights to be brighter on me because I'm prepared for the moment. I've been putting in the work. At some point, I'm coming from the backside of the desert, Moses, and I'm coming to tell him to let my people go. I ain't gonna always be on this backside of this mountain. You better believe that there's a time, there's an appointed time and chance that when I come from the backside of this mountain, I'm going to give me my mountain. Let my people go. And I'm coming to do everything that he's called me to do. And you are doing the same thing. You're going to do everything you've been called to do, but do it in a spirit of excellence. Hey, and until next time, it's your boy, and I'm challenging you to wage war on mediocrity. Your boy is out.